Welcome to another episode of the Office Altering Hire and Empower with Molly McGrath podcast. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. If you're a first-time listener, hopefully you'll become a long-time listener. As always, I'm your show host, Molly McGrath, founder of Hiring and Empowering Solutions and creator of this revolutionary podcast. You can check us out at hiringandempowering.com. Hey, real quick, I want to give a big shout out to our premier sponsor of the Hire and Empower podcast, Legal Ease Marketing. You can check them out at legaleasemarketing.com. More of the right cases. Legal Ease was created by law and marketing professionals for law professionals, and they exist to help build solutions that give you time back. At Legal Ease, they put you first, and everything they've created is for you and yours alone. So go check out our phenomenal sponsor, legaleasemarketing.com. All right, peeps, listen up. I'm so excited about today's conversation. We are talking with Stacy Brown Randall of Growth by Referrals. I'm excited. Today we are actually talking about, you all are highly analytical and you love science. You love all the data. You love all the things. So today we are talking about having science on your side in your referral strategy. So many of you own law firms, manage law firms, you're the marketing coordinators, client service coordinators, answering the phones, capturing where the leads come from. You all tell me, and I know this to be true, I look at the reporting every single week for the firms that I coach, and by and large, 80% plus of your clients that are coming in are coming from your referral sources. So kudos, amazing job for that. But today we are going to talk about having science on your side and how to systematize. I get this question all the time about how do I systematize my referral strategy? How do we make sure that we're nurturing our referral sources? I walk into the grocery store and I run into Bob. I'm like, oh my God, I think he sent us a client. I don't know if we sent him a thank you email. I'm not sure. Oh my goodness. Like, did we drop the ball on the client? All the things that wake us up at 2:00 in the morning. And when we see our amazing referral sources names, our heart drops a little bit because we're like, where are they in the process? There is no process. So I was delighted to find Stacy. I told her, where have you been all my life? I've been looking for you. So Stacy, thank you for being our guest today.
Oh my goodness. It is my pleasure. I'm so excited to be here and hang out with you.
Yes. Yeah. And I was delighted when I got that email from Neil Tyra, who introduced us, who, again, amazing referral source and an extraordinary connector. And he said, hey, all my friends, if you do not know Stacy, you must hop on a call with her. So I immediately was like, wait, referral sources? Yes, the legal community's begging for that. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're passionate about.
Yeah, so I help business owners generate referrals naturally. That's without manipulating, without incentivizing, and without even asking. And I just, when I started my second business, so a little bit of my backstory is I had a first business that I started that was an HR human resource consulting firm. And I ran it for 4 years before it actually failed. And I had to go back to corporate America and get a job, which is really hard when you've tasted entrepreneurial freedom, right? So I'm sure all the attorneys I'm talking to, like, you remember what it was like to work at the big firm and then you went out on your own. Can you imagine going back to the big firm? And so I had to go back and get a job. And then from there, I was like, okay, well, I need to have my own business. Like, I am meant to be an entrepreneur. What am I going to do different when I try again? Because I knew I was going to try again. And I got certified as actually a productivity and business coach while I was in corporate America in that corporate job. And that was a coaching practice is what I started as my second business. And what I paid attention to was where my clients came from and where I wish they had come from. And referrals had been a big part of that. I didn't receive any referrals with my HR consulting firm. And I had big name clients like KPMG, BDO, Ally Bank. And so it wasn't that I wasn't good, right, at doing the work that I do, but I definitely wasn't building that pipeline of clients that was consistently full. so that I always had potential clients ready to work with me. It would be, I would get a client. I'd be like, yay, I have KPMG. I'd put my head down and do the work. I'd look up, the work is done. I'd be like, there's no more clients. So that was the feast or famine roller coaster that I rode. And I rode that roller coaster for all 4 years. And I was like, okay, so I have to figure out how to get off that roller coaster in my first year with my second business, or I'm going to be right back where I was as a 2-time member of the business failure club that I did not want to be. And so I started paying attention to the ways to grow my business, what was working with me, what was working for me, what was working, but it was taking a ton of time. And referrals was something I landed on. And I was like, but I didn't get any referrals. Okay, I'll go to Google and Google will tell me how to get referrals. And like everybody else, that's what I did. I went to Google and Google was like, here's 25 ways to ask for a referral without looking desperate. And I was like, well, if you need 25 ways to ask for a referral to not look desperate, it's because we all know we look desperate, right? We all have that sense. And all the advice that I was receiving, whether it was from trainings or programs or books or articles online, they were like, you got to ask, or you got to pay for them, or you got to be really promotional and gimmicky and put like the greatest compliment you can give me is a referral in your email signature, or you need to make sure you're networking all the time so you can be seen all the time to capture those referrals. And none of those is conducive to who I am and how I want to spend my time and the brand that I want out there in the community. And so I was like, there's got to be another way. And there wasn't. And I was like, well, I am just going to throw a bunch of stuff on the wall like spaghetti and see what sticks and see if I can figure out how to get referrals and it not be in these terrible ways. And my first year as a coach, I brought on 112 referrals that I didn't ask for. And it was my clients who started asking the questions, wait, how are you growing so fast with your coaching practice? Like, it's really hard to get on your schedule and you keep raising your rates on us. And it was because I had, all this additional demand. And so they said, thanks for teaching us how to be more productive, but we would really love to learn your referral strategy. And actually, one of the first or second business owners I taught it to was actually an attorney. And it was interesting to watch this work within different industries, but it is really conducive to certain industries, and attorneys being a big one, because there's such a relationship base to everything an attorney does, which makes it very perfectly positioned for a referral generating type business. And so it was fun watching, that attorney have so much success with what I did. And then the business, I just shifted it to just now only teaching referrals. And we've been doing this for almost a decade, which I feel like I just aged myself. But
oh, wow.
Yeah, we've been doing this for almost a decade. And I have some of those earlier clients that are like, on year 8, on year 9, still doing it. And this is how they run their practice, growing their business based on referrals and doing it in a way where they're never asking, never compensating, which they can't do anyways, right? But then also never feeling promotional and gimmicky and never having to feel like they got to network all the time and go to all of the different networking opportunities, and can still grow their business with a great level of ease, which is ultimately what we all want, I think.
I think a lot of times, and thank you for sharing that. And I know you said by and large, the majority of business owners you work with are attorneys, correct? Law firms?
I do. I work with a number of attorneys. I love working with my attorney. They're not the only group I work with, but I love it when I get to work with attorneys.
Yes. Yeah. Here's what I love that you said. Networking, there's a difference between networking and referral sources, yes?
Yes.
Attorneys don't, when they hear referral sources, they're like, I'm not going to one more Rotary meeting. I tried all the chamber meetings. I was a road warrior, going to happy hours and lunches, and now I was constantly fat and drunk. I don't want to do it anymore, right? What's in your mind? What's the difference between a true referral, or I like the word relationship management? To your point, attorneys are in the personal service industry. Everything's relationship. You are in the human capital industry. So it has to be very much about relationship. In your mind, what's the difference between a relationship, referral management, and networking?
Yeah. So, it's interesting when you think through referrals, right? Because most people talk about their sales strategy and they think about this like two-legged stool, right? They've got this prospecting things that they do, which I would say for most folks, that's where networking falls, right? It's the prospecting mentality of, I'm going to go to this networking event and hope to meet somebody who needs an attorney, right? Or I'm going to go to these 4 events, or I'm going to do this. Well, not cold calling, right? In some industries, they cold call. and there's different things they do that are prospecting in nature. And that's where networking sits a lot for attorneys. And then the other side of their sales strategy outside of prospecting is the marketing. And then they talk about the website, right? And the Facebook ads and the public relations, trying to get earned media and all the things you can do within, marketing side. And most people teach and think about their sales strategy, their ability to bring in clients. I've got these prospecting activities I do like networking and marketing activities I do like, social media. And that drives my business. And then somehow these referrals show up. And I'm not really quite sure where I put them. And the truth is that's because your sales strategy is not a two-legged stool. It's a three-legged stool. And you've got your prospecting, which is where networking is. And there's definitely ways to be smart about your networking. And then you've got your marketing activities, and then you've got your referral strategies. And they literally actually operate separately, though there is some overlap. And networking opportunities can be great opportunities to meet people that can become referral sources. The problem is that most people have a spray and pray mentality to their networking. They're like, I just go to all these events and meet all these people and keep meeting all these people. But they're not intentional about developing the right relationships with the people who have the potential to refer them. And one of the things I love to do when I'm working with an attorney is get really, really clear on, okay, if we're going to have referral strategies as a piece of how you're bringing in clients, we need to understand who can actually refer you and really paying attention to who that is. And in some cases, it's your clients, depending on what you do. And in other cases, or usually for most people, it's not just the clients, right? It's also our centers of influence. And for attorneys, that's a lot of other attorneys that can actually refer to them. So we really, but those relationships are separate from any prospecting you do, which is where your general networking lives, and any marketing that you do, because these referral sources are humans and there's a relationship there. And being able to cultivate that in the right way and in a way that will actually have more referrals happen. Like there's a science behind that and there's a way to do it, but it has to be treated like its own standalone strategies. It can't just be take referrals and throw them into your prospecting or throw them into your marketing and see what happens, because that's not how they work if we want them sustainably and we want them for like long term.
I love that you said attorneys. Attorneys are so often, depending on industry, if it's estate planning, tell me about your top referral sources, like financial advisors, insurance agents, funeral directors, what have you. Never do they ever think of other attorneys. It's amazing to me, PIO, the doctors, a hospital, whatever it might be.
Chiropractors.
Other attorneys are just like sitting there. And I love that because, and we'll get in real quick. You can give us some drive-by coaching and some value bombs in regards to the science of it to speak into today's subject. But so often they're just missing the boat. I love that you even said like B2B, your referral sources, that should be super fun. They can speak your language. They own a business. They know the woes of what it takes to mind, find, and grind a client and serve a client and employees and payroll and all of it, right? So you're talking to your peers. So often I'll hear from attorneys, I run out of reasons. I don't know what to say to my referral sources. Do you hear that too?
Yeah, usually when I hear things like that, I always tell folks, you're not looking at the relationship the right way. Everybody comes at their referral source relationships, no matter who it is, right? They're coming at it like, I've got to educate them. I've got to train them to know the type of clients I'm looking for. I've got to educate them on the type of...
Make sure that I'm going to send them the equal amount of referrals, like they do this tit for tat. Well, how am I going to send them referrals, right? Do you have that?
They do. They focus on the things that like don't actually matter because that's all they know, right? I mean, I'm always like, God bless you. It's all you know. So it's not your fault. But like they focus on things like, how do I educate them? How do I train them? How do I make sure that I can give them referrals if they're giving me referrals? And I'm always like, okay, wait, we are focused on the wrong things. And this is what I call old school thinking or traditional thinking about referrals, because all of the tactics have been old school or traditional in nature as well, which is why these questions come up. Like if they refer me, I have to refer them. And how do I educate them? And how do I train them? And like, they're not dogs. Like we're not training our referral sources to know who to refer to you. Actually, what we're doing, if we unpack why and how referrals happen, right? And then we understand that at the heart of all of this, other than the science piece that runs through it, are relationships. And what most people find fascinating, they're like, well, you can't refer to me if you don't know what I do. And I'm like, that's actually not true. I have to trust you. And I have to know if, like, I need to know if you're an attorney versus a doctor, right? Obviously, I need to know what you do. But how many times as an attorney had someone reach out to them and say, I don't know if this is the type of work you do, but my friend needs a divorce attorney. Or I don't know if this is the type of work you do, but I have a colleague who needs, an employment law attorney. And so people always think like, you have to know what I do to be able to refer me. Yet they forget the fact that people who trust them, that know their attorney, but cannot remember what actual type of law they practice, will reach out and be like, do you know somebody? Do you do this? And they're like, how do you not know of a personal injury attorney? Right? Like, why are you asking me about divorce? Like, that's because people actually need to trust you. They need to like you and trust you and know enough about what you do to be able to realize, oh, you're an attorney, not a doctor or a financial advisor. And that's why they're willing to refer to you. People think they get referrals based on the work that they do, the reputation that they have. No, actually, it comes down to the relationships you have. And yes, the work that you do matters. And of course, your reputation matters as well. But things come, like my decision to pick you as the defense attorney I'm going to send my people to, or to the estate attorney I'm going to refer my friends to. My decision to pick you probably means I trust you to do a good job, but it means I trust you because there are thousands of you I could refer my folks to. So there's a reason why I pick you. And the reason why I pick you is because of our relationship. I'm actually going to assume you know what you're doing and you're a good attorney. Like, that's not one of the validating reasons of why I send people to you. Because for me, it's like, well, of course, he's a good attorney, right? And then, of course, now I'm going to refer you to people because I trust you. So it is, I'm not going to say you can't be a terrible attorney and then get a whole bunch of referrals, but I want people to recognize that why someone remembers you and decides to refer you, it could be because they had an amazing experience with you. But more than likely, it's because they have a relationship with you and they trust you to solve their person's, whoever the person is they're referring to you, they trust you to solve their problem. And it's not about growing your business. It's about helping their friend, their colleague, their business buddy who has a problem and needs an attorney. And the moment somebody is referring someone to you, it is not about helping you grow your practice. It may feel that way, but it's not. Right? So the minute, Molly, you refer someone to me, I know in that moment you were talking to someone who needed help with their referrals. And that's why you decided to refer them to me, because we have a relationship, right? And you trust me. But at the end of the day, you're trying to help your person. You're trying to help your clients, right? And in the moment of you trying to help them, all you're thinking of, who's the best resource for them? I'm just the solution provider at that moment, right? You didn't wake up today thinking, how can I grow Stacy's business today? Right? You woke up, let's be honest, I did. I woke up thinking about myself. I'm pretty sure you did too. And that's okay. But we have to recognize what's happening in the mind of our referral source when they are referring us. It's not about us. It's about them helping someone who needs help and them being the hero to that person. And how they're going to do that is by referring them to you.
I love it. You use it works. I was just going to say that. Like, even think about at the cocktail party or your son or daughter's soccer game, baseball game, what have you, and somebody's sharing, what do you do? Sharing about your woes, whatever it might be. And you're like, oh my goodness, I know exactly who you need to call. So often I will hear, because you get to be a helper, you get to be the hero for your friend or whoever you're recommending the person to. And I'll hear this from people. Well, I got this phone call and this referral source sent to me, and they're looking for a divorce, and I do estate planning, or maybe I do real estate or whatever it might be. I'm like, wait, you're saying that's a bad referral source. Let me just check in with you right now. Even if you don't know the person, you got the email, you got their information, you sent them to somebody, you hopefully have a referral bank that you're sending them to, but you're also adding that person to, if they ever need a PI attorney, estate planning attorney, or what have you. But it's so fascinating. And so I assume this is what you're saying. The science is really about, I love what you said. It's about the why and the how. Is that accurate?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to it when we think about the science behind referrals. Um, let me just go back real quick to what you're saying, because you actually brought up a good thing that I hear from a lot of attorneys is the quality of the referrals, right? I get referred, I get all those people. They either don't have any money or they actually don't have a problem that I can solve. I have to refer them out to another attorney. The quality is not there. And actually, one of the language pieces that we teach to our clients is we actually teach them there is a right and wrong way to have a quality conversation with a referral source, somebody who's referring you, not great quality, not ideal clients. There's a way to have a conversation with them so that they don't get defensive, because the minute a referral source gets defensive on who they've been sending to you, they just stop, because then it becomes too much work. Like, nobody wants to qualify business for you. That doesn't mean they can't already understand who is the ideal client for you, but how you position that conversation and how you keep them from being defensive, and so they'll keep referring you. Like, there's a science to it in terms of understanding how that conversation has to go. And so we always tell folks, like, our goal is to get people more referrals. And then after we're getting you more referrals, then we want to refine that to get you the right referrals and increase your closing ratio and all the different things that you want to do to have a fully functioning referral strategy within your business. But definitely, I mean, I see so many people who are like, I just ignore them because they just refer me the wrong person. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're missing such an opportunity to potentially get better quality referrals from them if you just invest in that relationship a little bit. And I don't mean you're going to go sit them down and tell them all the things they do wrong and then train them, right? They're not dogs. You're not going to train them to understand what you do, but you can have a conversation that will be memorable to them, that will feel good, that will help them give you better quality referrals. But so I just wanted to address that because it's a big one.
I love it.
Right? They're like, oh, quality, quality, quality. I'm like, you're just looking at it all wrong. The other thing is, right, and a lot of times people have no idea who they need to have the quality conversation with because they don't track what's happening. They get one bad referral and they think, I just never get any good referrals, or this person always sends me bad ones. Never mind that they sent you 3 good ones 4 months ago. You just forgotten about it. So we have a lot of conversations around the data you collect and how that drives the decisions you make with your referral sources. And that's super important for the attorneys to understand. But you brought up the science side of really understanding referrals, and there's a lot to it. But the way I like to break it down so it's not overwhelming for the first time someone's hearing it is in this way. Understanding what's happening when a referral is happening, which we just talked about, right? There's actually in the brain, when the feel-good chemicals, dopamine and its 2 cousins are released into your brain, it's when you're doing something that feels good. They're the feel-good chemicals, and usually it's helping people is a feel-good response for folks, right? So when somebody is referring someone to you, they are having the happiness trifecta happen in their brain because they're helping someone else and being the hero. Of course, the other parts of the science behind referrals that are happening, which means referrals aren't about you. And that is really hard for people to understand. When I say we're going to build out a referral strategy that's only focused on the referral source and the relationship you have with them, most of the time people are like, well, that's different, because usually everything I do in sales and marketing is focused on the prospect, the client, right? Like, nope, we're focusing every activity, everything we do, everything we say to the relationship we have with our referral source. So as you can imagine, the psychology of trust and understanding the science of your social networks is huge. And when you're identifying who are your referral sources and who should be referring business to you, and understanding who's existing, who's already referring to you, and who you wish potentially would refer business to you. And then it's like, okay, we've identified what's happening when someone refers us, and it's not about us, it's about them. We have identified that the trust factor in our relationship is super important, and understanding this different networks, the social networks that we have, and how trust runs through those. There's got to be a trust factor to refer people to us. Then the next piece, right, is this idea of like, okay, so then like, what are we doing when we're working to get other referral sources to refer people to us so they remember to do it? And now some behavioral economics come in to play. And we build our strategies on a framework of understanding some of the science, not all the pieces of behavioral economics, but some of the big pieces of behavioral economics that get people to the point where what you're doing is it's almost like you're making it their idea to refer to you. But it all comes from this one place, which is you actually have to care about them. So the most important thing that you can do in your relationship with your referral sources is make sure they know how much you appreciate the fact that they refer business to you, that they refer clients to you, even if they're not referring great ones to you, right? We can have that quality conversation later, but that's the number one thing you have to be focused on, because the relationship and the trust and all the pieces of the science come together at this one place of when I can impact how you feel about me, right? So when I impact how you feel about me, Molly, and you know I care about you, you know I appreciate that you refer me, you know I don't take that for granted because I'm showing it to you and I'm saying the words, right? And that I'm thankful and grateful. When I impact how you feel about me, I then have the opportunity to direct how you think about me. And that means...
Say that one again. Wait.
Yeah, when I know it's one of my favorite things to say. So
oh my goodness.
When you impact how somebody feels about you, you then have the opportunity to direct how they think about you. And we use referral seed language. We call it planting referral seeds. So it's almost as if it's their idea to refer you, but you've been planting, right, embedding that language in a lot of your interactions. Not every interaction, right? We're not broken records. But in our interactions, and there's a cadence to it, and there's a way that we do it, and there's the language piece is truly my secret sauce. And it's this idea, but it still comes from a place of just show that you care. Like at the end of the day, show that you care. And what I don't mean is you don't show that you care for your referral sources through that quick email that says, hey, thanks for that referral. You show that you care through a handwritten thank you card when they refer to you, right? You don't show that you care through your e-newsletter that you send out once a month. And you're like, thanks for all the referrals. That's not how you show you care, right? There's the way we look at it and the way we take the behavioral economics piece of the science and we apply the framework of how we show we care and the language we use. That's really the secret sauce of how all of our strategies work that allows attorneys to double, triple, or quadruple the number of referrals they should be receiving. So, like, I'll give you the example of Catherine, who is a business law attorney, and she is amazing. She's out of Maryland, and she was actually referred to me by Neil, who we were talking about earlier. Neil's a great referral source for me. And Neil's been through my program. So he's like, he talks about it. He's like, yeah, this stuff works. So Catherine comes to me and she's like, I get about 12 referrals a year. Like that's her average. It's not a bad number, not where she wants to be, right? She gets 12 referrals a year. I'm like, okay, so we're going to identify your referral sources. We're going to create a strategy, a plan to take better care of them and use the right language. And then her first year following the strategy, she went from what is typically 12 referrals a year to 40. And then she continued to follow that plan. We like to build plans that are wash, rinse, repeat. Do it this year, then do it next year, then do it the next year. Change up some things sometimes, but we keep the plan going. And in her second year, she got 52 referrals. And then in the 57 referrals. And then in the next year, she got, maybe it was 52 referrals, then 67, then 62, and then 82 last year. And she's like, that's actually more than I can handle. I'm really happy with around 70 referrals. And so the idea is that she built this strategy that provides easier growth for her business, but she still invests the time in managing the strategy every year. And eventually she got to a point where she's like, okay, I actually need some different people referring me. I want to do some work in this other area. I need some different people referring me that aren't referring me now. So then she learned our strategy of when you don't have referral sources, what do you do to cultivate people into referring you? And so then she learned that strategy, and now she's executing on a handful of strategies that are serving her really well. But the thing about Catherine's success, when I asked her, do you want to take care of the people who take care of your business? Like, are you good with building relationships with them and fostering the trust? She was like, yes, of course. That sounds like being a good human. And I'm like, sometimes that's what I feel like I do. I remind and teach people how to be a good human. And when she had the heart in the right place, of course, I'm going to take care of the people that are helping me grow my law firm. It would be crazy for me to say no. I'm like, okay, you got the right mindset. Now you're ready to do the work.
Wow. And of course, yes, the answer probably is of course, but the what and the how, the why and the how is so critical, way beyond the thank you note that goes out, that is clearly written by your secretary. or if we're going to use old school terminology here. I mean, so it's clear as night as day. So I love that. Tell our listeners, we're sitting here at the end of the year. Everybody's feeling excitement for what they've created this year. Hopefully, our listeners are always looking to optimize leverage and continue to double down on what is working. And this is a number one request I get constantly. I believe, and I'm a huge fan, and I tell my clients, do not start spending money on paid advertising until you have this piece nailed. Do not start writing checks for miracle leads on PPC, SEO, all that until you have this part systematized and working like a well-oiled machine, to your point with the reporting, etc. Because at the end of the day, subconsciously, your referral sources are the things that cause you, are the people, are the leads that cause you anxiety. Because when you see them and you run into them, you have that oh shit moment. Like, did we send the thank you card? Did we tell them that the client hired us or didn't hire us or what have you? Or what did my secretary say to them? Did we tell them they're a crappy lead? Did when we referred them out, where did we refer them out? All these things. And then we're like, we need a system. We need a system. I get asked this all the time. And truly, Stacey, I said this to you when we first met. Where have you been for 26 years?
Well, I had to throw spaghetti on the wall first and figure it all out for myself before I could start teaching it to everybody else. It just took me a while. I'm sorry it took so long.
Well, I'm delighted. So, Anne, do I have this correctly? Your programs, and I'd like for you to tell our listeners how they can find out more about you and start working with you, because I'm excited. Can I tell them what you're doing for the Law Firm Admin Bootcamp starting January 10th?
Of course.
Stacey's coming in and doing a 3-part series for us, and she's going to train our members in the Law Firm Admin Bootcamp. So if you're not in the Law Firm Admin Bootcamp, you do not have your client service coordinators, your referral management coordinators, your community outreach coordinators, get them in the program. I'll put the link in the show notes for you, Law Firm Admin Bootcamp. Stacey's going to join us, and she's going to teach for us a 3-part series in January. So the first 3 Thursdays, I got to look at the dates. I'll put them in here. But she's going to come and speak. Let me look here. What is it? January.
I think it's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
12th, 19th, and 26th.
Yeah.
Don't leave the administrative stuff up to us. But she's going to come in and speak with us and do a 3-part series. So you want your marketing coordinators, your community outreach coordinators, your client care coordinators in there. Because, Stacey, your programs tell us they're for your admin team and or your masterminds for the attorneys, correct?
Yeah, so definitely. I mean, I have had folks that where the attorney themselves comes through the program, whether that's one of our online self-study online programs or they're in our group coaching program, which is awesome because when you're in the group coaching program, you can be in there with your marketing coordinator or your admin assistant or whoever's with you. But it really is, and this is the thing we're going to talk about when I get to spend, thank you for giving me so much time to spend with your folks, because we're really going to dig in and figure out like, okay, where are you with your referral strategy? And like, what does it look like with referrals? We call it the referral reality within your firm, and pulling that data and looking at it. And then that tells us which direction we need to go in and where we need to start. And then we can always know, okay, right, from that perspective, we have good understanding of where our gaps are. Now let's go fill them and build them. And so that's always exciting for me when people are like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing referrals totally different. And now I have a plan of action and I know what to do to go start solving them. But we work with folks, you know, if there were online programs or group coaching, and then there's even a VIP one-on-one option with me where most people think this is crazy when they first hear it, and then they see it mapped out and all makes sense. I'm like, I can actually do all this for a law firm in a day. So, but it's a totally different offering. But it's like doing it all in a day. But most people, they want to like take it step by step and have their administrator coordinator go through it too, or their assistant or whomever, right? Marketing coordinator, whoever. Because This is something that every business needs. We need to start the year strong with it.
Absolutely. Now is the time. I had a client that emailed me this morning. We're starting to panic. We didn't order our holiday cards. Should we send out Christmas cards to all of our referral sources right now? Like people, this is a time of year when people are just grabbing for straws and they haven't heard from you all year. And now we feel like we're going to send a Christmas card in a sea of 1,000 million other Christmas cards. I'm not negating the strategy or what have you, but I'm just saying if you're asking yourself that question, it is a giant red flag, a giant flashlight on that you do not have a strategy, you do not have a process, you do not have a system. So every holiday that comes up, end of year that comes up, and you get that, oh crap feeling, that's when you know you need a strategy. And I know every one of our listeners, I'm yet to find a law firm that has a clear, concise, well-communicated, systematized strategy for relationship and referral management. So when can they join? How do they join? As I told you, our listeners have 5 and above referral sources. I know you have people that are starting at the bottom, newbies, maybe brand new practice area or what have you. How do they get started in your group coaching and then as well as your mastermind? Is there a certain time of year that they launch? Are they ongoing?
No, they're actually ongoing unless we're full because the group coaching program, it's called Building a Referable Business, and it's a 12-month group coaching. We have 18 strategies you're going to get access to. You will not deploy them all because you will not need them all. But I will personally strategy stack every 90 days that you're in our program so that you're working on what you need to get the ROI and to get the right strategies in place right away. But the Building a Referable Business group coaching model, there's a lot to it that allows folks to be able to go at their own pace, but still have access to me, group sessions, as well as all the strategies. And it's the number one thing you got to do is you have to make the decision that you want a referral strategy in place and that's going to start seeding and start growing all the referrals you have. And if you are receiving referrals now, oh my gosh, Molly, you're absolutely right.
They all are. They all are.
Right. And most of the attorneys that I work with are. The last thing you should be thinking is, oh, crap, I haven't talked to them all year. What do I do really fast? I actually have a podcast episode. I think it came out this week, maybe next week, but it's episode 231, if I remember correctly. It's episode 231, and it's like the 3 things you should be doing for your referral sources right now. And we do this episode every November. Because it's the same question people get like, oh my God, what do I do for our referral sources? And I'm like, do not go spend a bunch of money on a bunch of Christmas gifts if you haven't done anything all year round, all year long. Like, don't go spend money on a bunch of Hanukkah stuff if you haven't actually been consistent with those relationships. And so we give some practical things that people can do. But the truth is, one of the things I talk about is identifying who the heck are these people, like really knowing who they are. And then really thinking through, it's not about this time of year or right when they refer you, you remember to say something. It's about how do you communicate value and how do you communicate care throughout the entire year. But you don't do something every month because that becomes creepy. Usually when I build out referral plans with my folks, we're like 5 to 7 times a year, we're going to do some level of outreach, and it's going to be a variety. It will not be all the same thing because variety is the spice of life, and that builds into our behavioral economics. But it's that idea of understanding, like, this is not the time of year for you to be like, let me just dump a whole bunch of stuff on my referral sources because by February, you're not remembered. And what I need is you to be remembered throughout the year so you can get those referrals throughout the year. So that program where we teach that you have referral sources, okay, let's take better care of them and use the right referral seed language. That's our Growth by Referrals program. It's online. You can sign up on a Saturday at midnight if you want to. It is all automated. You go in, you're able to join. It's an on-demand self-study online program. And if online programs work for you, then that's the one I would say get started on because you want to start the year strong. You need to build it now. And then, of course, if you're like, online programs aren't right for me, then definitely I would encourage you to apply for our group coaching program, Building a Referable Business. We keep that group small because I will know your business. That's really important to me to be able to have a relationship with you so I can give the best advice. But go ahead and apply. We do accept people on a rolling calendar as long as we're not at capacity and on a wait list.
Awesome. And I just looked the podcast live So when you go to Stacy's website, that episode is right at the top, people. So now you're going to
get out this week.
Yes. Yeah. Just posted yesterday. So it's there. So StacyBrownRandall.com, you can see, number one, go to the podcast, download episode 231, do these 3 things for your referral source. Number 2, referring machines, building a referable business are the 2 main programs. I think it's on either or, it's an and. Put your marketing coordinator, your client care coordinator, your community outreach coordinator, whatever you call them, VA, put them through the online program immediately. They can start on January 2nd when they get back in the office. They can start now in December before you even end the year. So you already are locked and loaded. And then looks like you can apply here for your mastermind. So great.
The group coaching. Yep. So I would say if you want them to go through the training themselves, then join Growth by Referrals. That's the strategy. If you have referral sources, get them going. But if you want them to go through group coaching and you want to do some of it with them, then I would say join Building a Referable Business, because Growth by Referrals is included in the group coaching program. That's because you get access to all 18 strategies, and Growth by Referrals is one of them. And so that's the group coaching model where you get access to all the online trainings, as well as one-on-one time with me, and then group sessions as well.
Awesome. Okay. All right, guys. No excuses. No excuses. The next person that calls me and talks to me about a referral source program, I'm sending you to Stacy immediately.
Perfect.
And your admin team, lawfirmadminbootcamp.com. We kick off on Tuesday, January 10th. So you want to get your team in there, and Stacy's going to join us for the month of January. We're so grateful and excited for that. Thank you, Stacy, for being our guest today.
Thank you, Molly, for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right. Until next time, continue being a legal leader, leading a legal leader. All right. That's a good stopping point for us today. We've reached the end of yet another episode of the Hire and Empower with Molly McGrath podcast, where dream teams of entrepreneurs in the entrepreneurs world really do come true. Listen, whether you're a business owner, employee, executive, maybe a hiring manager, we wholly understand. Hiring, onboarding, and leadership is absolutely expensive, exhausting, overwhelming, time and energy consuming for the already taxed professional. Well, we have your back on all fronts. For 25 plus years, we have transformed over 4,000 law firm teams into becoming the most efficient, resourceful, and profitable aspect of your business. Check out our Smart Hire solution, our employee leadership program, or our 66-day law firm turnaround at hiringandempowering.com. And listen, if you enjoyed this episode, click below, subscribe, make sure that we get in your inbox, share it with your friends. And of course, a shout out as always to our premier sponsors at Legal Ease Marketing. Check out legaleasemarketing.com. Legal Ease was created by law and marketing professionals for law professionals. They exist to help build solutions that give you time. At Legal Ease, they put you first as a law firm owner. Everything they've created from a place of automation, technology, and marketing was created for you and is yours and yours alone. All right, that's a wrap. Again, check us out, subscribe, share with your friends. If there's something that you're really pining for us to speak about, put it below in the comments, shoot us an email, go to our website and fill out our contact form. Tell us what you want to hear more of, and we will get it on the show for you.